Hello, dear RC hobbyists. Here is again your CRC speaking. In this video, I will continue with the work on the Tamiya F350 High Lift project, so stay tuned. In this video, I plan to reassemble the gearbox into the chassis, and I have two more points where I can show some improvements on the chassis. I will turn on the time lapse now. The finger acrobatics during the reassembly is not very interesting. During the rebuild, I used the manual to make sure to use the right screws on the right spots. In general, I would recommend you to consider the improvements during the first build-up of the chassis. This saves you about 2 hours of work. After I reassemble the front axle and also most of the steering mechanism, I would like to show the next improvement. According to the manual, the ball for the steering mechanism should be placed at the outermost hole on the servo arm, but this leads to the fact that the servo travel needs to be limited to about 65%, because the steering could reach its endpoints, but the servo could move further. Here I recommend to reassemble the ball to the middle position on the servo arm. After that, I can continue to reassemble the chassis. Coming to the shift servo, I have the same situation as on the steering servo. Here I will fasten the ball for the gearshift linkage at the innermost position, which leads to the servo being able to exert more force and the shift processes are more precise. Attention at this step. The gearshift linkage needs to be in one line with the shift rod in the gearbox, or else the gear shifting will not be clean. To respect this requirement, I move the servo one position more inwards. The servo arm moves past the chassis rail and the shift linkage is in one line with the shift rod. After that, I can assemble the shift servo to the chassis and connect it to the receiver. After completing the chassis, I have to test it. I insert a battery, lift the chassis up on a car stand and test the gear shifting and the steering. On my FlySky Noble NB4, I have programmed the gear shifting to be on the two small levers on the sides of the steering wheel. Do not wonder, the noise does not come from the gearbox. The propeller shaft catches on the car stand. At the end, I measure the length of the shift rod outside of the gearbox to be sure that the second gear is fully engaged. As I explained in the last video, the two E-clips on the ends of the shift rod make the end stop for the first and third gear. Here I also need to make sure that the clips get to the housing of the gearbox so that the gears are fully engaged. So, that's it for today. In the next video I will check if the body is complete and think about the paint and the design of the body. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and leave a thumbs up. In this way, you will not miss the next video. Your CRC.